Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome to part 2 of Mutant Genesis, the Marvel Champions card game X-Men campaign set. So check out part 1 where I go through like some of the new rules, keywords, stuff like that, and we go over our two main characters, Shadowcat and Colossus. In this video, we're going to go over the actual campaign itself. So if you didn't want spoilers for what villains or what they're going to have in their deck and everything, you can check out that. I did mention what villains were in the deck from the first set, but if you don't want to see what they do and you want to be kind of more surprised by all that, or what the storylines are, then don't check out this video, I guess. But before you do that and run off, we're going to go through the role cards, which we talked about in the last one. This is just a brief reminder of what the roles were. Is at the beginning of the campaign, each player gets to pick one of 4 roles, either Brawler, Commander, Defender, and Peacekeeper. Throughout the campaign, now these are campaign attached, there will be various things that will let you pick up one of your 5 cards for your role. This is give you extra little bonuses, such as Coup de Grace here, which then you can use throughout your game. But they're kind of like one-time use things. You use them, they're gone. So they're kind of, they want you to use them. You don't really want to necessarily save them. The whole point is to keep getting them and using them for special effects. The other fun thing with the role is you get to add 1 extra or 2 extra cards, either an upgrade or an event from the chosen aspects. You get 2 extra cards, which can be from an aspect that your character normally can't use. So it definitely makes some interesting deck options with that. So here we have the Brawler class. So we have Coup de Grace. It's Hero Interrupt. When you attack, this attack deals 3 additional damage and gains Overkill. Remove this card from the game and the campaign pool. So you can't like you can't use this card and then reselect it the next time you get your option to pick one. We have Swagger. Hero Interrupt Defense. When you make a basic defense, you get +3 defense. Remove your hero, or ready your hero. Remove this card and from the game. Sets it down. It's like, go ahead, bub. Make our day. So that's definitely fun too. Extra attack, extra defense for a brawler. Brazen Defense. Hero Interrupt Attack or Defense. When enemy attacks, spend 1 resource of any type to prevent 3 damage from this attack and deal 3 damage to that enemy. Definitely great. Just boom, hit them, and then you'll get some extra stuff. Ferocious Attack. So what's interesting here is that lots of times in the game they always use completely extra or brand new artwork for everything. Here they're using cards right from the comic books. I'm not even mad about that because there's definitely some cool artwork for what they do. Definitely the comics always have great artwork. So using like a minor role like this is really cool versus just always plastering them into the set. So then here we have Ferocious Attack. Spend 3 resources of any type to deal 6 damage to an enemy and ready your hero. Hit them for 3 and then basically you're spending 3 resources to use this as a skill. And then we have War Cry. Skill, generate 2 wild resources for an attack or defense event. Gain a tough status card. And there we go. Wolverine's all pissed off. Rawr! So that's definitely cool. So you can kind of see how those definitely work with your attack and defenses. Then we have Commander. So we're going to get Coup de Grace again. So some of these are going to cross over because you're mixing the 2 different aspect types. But yeah, extra 3 damage is not bad. We have Compassion, Alter Ego Response. After recover, heal 3 damage from among characters you control and draw a card. It's definitely great. We've all been there, son. Group Assault. Skill and Tactic. Until the end of your phase, until the end of phase, prevent all consequential damage each ally would take from attacking. Remove this from the game. So definitely be great if you're using an ally deck. Jump in, everyone gets to hit, and they don't have to worry about taking that extra damage. Shock and Awe. Spend 3 resources of any type to deal 6 damage to an enemy, and ready each ally you control. So the other one we had that did it lets you ready your hero. This one lets you ready your allies. Improvisation. Generate 2 wild resources for an attack or tactic event. Ready an ally and heal 2 damage from it. So the commander is all about getting your allies focused, where the brawler was all about you doing attack and defense as your main character. Commander is all about leading your team, which definitely makes sense, right? Then we have defenders, so we're going to have another copy of Swagger. And then we have Surprise. Hero responds after you thwart, remove 3 threat from among schemes in play, confusing enemy. So sweet. Gutentag. So after you've already thwarted, now you can remove an additional 3 threat, but it's among any of the schemes. So either finish off one you're doing or finish off some other ones. Definitely fun. Heroic Intervention. Thwart. Spend 3 resources of any type. Seen that. Remove 5 threat from among the schemes. You gain a tough status card. It's just to get you a chance to take some damage, as well as remove some threat. Plus the artwork's on there really cool. We got Psylocke on the side here. We got Marvel Girl, who not sure what name she was going by at that point, but that's Rachel Summers. And then we have M in the back. And then we have Determined Defense with Colossus and Magic. Hero Interrupt. When you defend against an attack, spend 2 resources of any type. The attack removes threat from the main scheme instead of dealing damage. That's definitely fun. So you defend, you spend resources, so if you have them. It's going to remove that threat, so especially if you take a big hit, direct it towards a threat instead. And then finally we have Bodyguard to generate 2 resources for a defense or thwart, and then draw a card. And then our final one is we have another Surprise and another Compassion. So those first 2 are always going to be a kind of mix between the first. So like one's kind of probably one aspect and one's for the other, and then they're going to meld into what the other aspects are. But then the other 3 are all only for these specific roles. So we have the Peacekeeper gets Rescue Operation, Skill and Tactic. Until the end of your phase, prevent all consequential damage each ally would take from thwarting. That's definitely helpful to prevent other stuff, but if you're thwarting, so you have some good thwarters there. We have Mentorship, Skill and Tactic. Spend 3 resources from any type. Remove 5 threat from among the schemes in play. Ready each ally you control. This is all about removing your threats. And our last one would be Fortitude. Generate 2 for a tactic or a thwart. Stun an enemy. Colossus lifting up a school. Well, no, it's not a school bus. It's a trolley train. This is probably when they're in San Francisco. Boys and all. There's Colossus's main catchphrase. So that's definitely cool. Extra little cards you can add into there, give you little bonuses. Plus the fact that they're all upgrades. So once they're free to play, you get them. They basically sit out until you use them. That's definitely cool. Alright, let's hop into our campaign. And our story. So I'm not going to go over too much on the overall story, but basically, we're going to start off. Sabretooth is trying to kill Senator Robert Kelly. This kind of does mirror some of the old like X-Men 90s cartoons, some of those themes. But you're going to, of course, see all the different stuff he can do. There's this fun thing, modular difficulty. So a lot of these are going to have this. Either you can do a skirmish, standard, expert, or heroic mode. Basically what this means is you are trying to not let Robert Kelly die. But you can go ahead and push extra damage on him to make your job a little bit harder, if you like a little bit harder difficulty. Then there's a special Mystique modular set, and then of course the campaign setup, how you do all this other stuff. And then we'll hop into part 2 when we get there. But let's see what cards we have. What does good old Victor Creed bring us? Victor Creed Sabretooth here has Brotherhood of Mutants, 1 scheme, 2 attack, Force Response. After Sabretooth activates against you, discard the top card of the encounter deck. Heal damage from Sabretooth equal to the number of boost icons discarded. I'll rip out your guts. Yeah, it definitely makes sense. So he's going to attack you, and then he's going to turn around and heal. Plus, he's also removing card from the top of the encounter deck, so that's not going to be helpful either. And he has 13 hit points per player. So his second version, he also starts with toughness. His bottom ability stays the same, but he gains up to 15 hit points and some more steaming. There's going to gain another attack. Also has Retaliate 1, along with his toughness and his healing ability, and now up to 18 hit points. That's going to be kind of a pain to deal with. So if you only do 3 or 4 damage to him, and then he turns around and he heals 2 or 3 damage, it's like, all your attacks are going to probably do about half. Unless you hit with some major ones. And especially this time now, if he starts retaliating, oh boy. Alright, so they're stalked by Sabretooth. The setup is Spine Senator Kelly. In play, attach him to attach the Robert. Find the Senator side steam into play and then attach Robert Kelly ally to it. But when he's in play, he's not under any player's control. Alright, then our steam is Force Response. After resolving step 1 of the villain phase, deal 2 damage to Robert Kelly, 3 instead if there are at least 6 per player threat here. So basically the closer he's gotten to him. While Robert Kelly is attached to Final Senator, treat his text box as if it were blank. If he leaves play, players lose the game. And then we have part 2, which says, when completed, defeat Robert Kelly. If Robert Kelly leaves the game, so basically just trying to hunt him down. And then we have Find the Senator. Robert Kelly cannot be healed by player card effects and cannot have upgrades attached. When defeated, the first player detaches Robert Kelly from the steam, takes control of him, advance to the main steam 2A, flip this card, and place it next to the main steam. So you have to deal with this one first. And then we'll get Protect the Senator. Still cannot be healed or have upgrades. Says after your hero defends against an attack from Sabretooth, spend 2 resources of any type. Ready your hero. Only the player who controls Robert Kelly can trigger this ability. And then here's Robert Kelly. So he has 9 health, but when he's going to be taking 2 on each of them turns, he's going to die quick unless you do something about it. The first player controls Robert Kelly. He is not counted against your ally limit, and you cannot have player cards attached. Force Interrupt when an enemy resolves an undefeated attack against you. Deal that damage to Robert Kelly. So basically, if you're controlling him, you have to defend, otherwise it's going to hit him instead. So basically, if you can defeat that steam, then he's not going to take that damage from that, but then you have to start defending, otherwise he's going to keep trying to attack him. What else can Sabretooth do? He has Adamantium Claws, +1 attack. Sabretooth's attack gains piercing. Spend 1 of each resource to discard this. Animal Ferocity, attached to Sabretooth. Character gains Stalwart and spend 1 of each resource to discard this. Otherwise, it's a booster. He's got 2 copies of Sabretooth Strikes. When revealed, deal 1 damage to Robert Kelly. You may exhaust your hero to prevent this. Boost. If this attack defeats an ally, place 2 threat on the main steam. 3 copies of Unrelenting Savage. When revealed, if an alter ego, he steams. If he has no sustained damage, he gets +1 steam for this activation. And when revealed hero, when he attacks, if you have no sustained damage, get +1 attack for this activation. So if he's at full health, he gets extra abilities. Then we do have 2 extra side steams. We have Medical Emergency, Hinder 2, Victory 1. When defeated, heal 2 damage from Robert Kelly. So this is kind of a fun one, because it does give you an ability to heal him. It's just something you have to then take your focus off everything else to do it. And then we have Feral Rage. Sabretooth has worked himself into a frenzy for his hunt for Kelly. You need to draw his attention away from the center. When defeated, Sabretooth attacks the player who defeated this scheme, even if that player is in alter ego form. Yeah, so it's definitely cool. So this is a neat little mechanic or side deck because it's basically an escort mission. Which you're already like, escort missions suck, but it's a neat way to do it. Essentially, it's like Sabretooth is scheming. It's just trying to get closer to him, and he's gonna keep trying to do more damage to the senator to take him out. That's his main focus. His unrelenting goal is to hunt down your escort. If you can pull him away, then you basically can get to him by finding him from the whole stock from Sabretooth's part. Then you have to straight up defend him. So now instead of it being a hunt to see who can find the escort first, now you actually control the escort and you have to protect them. I get the part where you can't heal him and do stuff because you might be spending too many healing cards and it might make it too easy. I think the idea, just in general, is supposed to be because he doesn't like mutants, so he doesn't want mutants attaching mutant stuff to him or using mutant magic on him. So I think that's kind of the other thematical reason. But there's a way to heal him at least, because otherwise, if there's no way at all to ever heal him, that would kind of suck. Just because you might die, just because you drew a bad hand, But yeah, definitely interesting way. So we do have 2 other modulars that we add in there. We have the Brotherhood. So the Brotherhood of Mutants. We have Avalanche with 3 attack. Force response. After Avalanche attacks you, exhaust a character you control, basically causes an earthquake, trips you up. We have the Blob. With Guard, after Blob attacks and damages a character, stun that character, nothing moves the Blob. We get Pyro. Force response, after Pyro attacks you, discard the top 2 cards of your deck, take 1 indirect damage for each printed resource icon discarded this way. I always play with fire and I never get burned. That's kind of, he doesn't have any attack, but that's kind of how his attack works. So he's not going to do normal damage, but he could end up doing some decent other damage. And we have the Toad. After Toad attacks and damages a character you control, discard 1 random card from your hand, or boost, discard a random card. I hate discarding random. Force me to discard card, fine. Force me to discard top of my deck, okay, because I didn't know what that was probably going to be anyhow, but I hate discarding random cards. 2 card, Homo Superior Attachment. Attach to a minion and give it a tough status card, otherwise it gains surge. A minion gets 5 hit points. Boost, attach this card to a minion and give it a tough status. Basically it turns like a regular minion into an elite. And that's crazy. And the fact it's just a minion, it doesn't even have to be like one of the Brotherhood. We have Mutant Terrorists, which is interesting. He's attacking the Red Guardian. When revealed, search the encounter deck and discard pile for a Brotherhood side scheme and reveal it. Shuffle if it did not enter play this way. Discard cards from the top of the encounter deck until Brotherhood of Mutant Minion is discarded and revealed. If it's already in play, then you just have to go find a Brotherhood of Mutant Minion to play instead. But if we get the Brotherhood of Mutants, we're going to get Magneto assembled the Brotherhood of Mutants to enact his plan for dominance. Hinder 2 and Brotherhood of Mutant icon gains. Each Brotherhood of Mutant gains Quick Strike. So definitely a terrible card to have out. And plus there's 2 different ways to get it. The other one we're going to get is Mystique. Definitely a major X-Men villain. Teams up with Sabretooth a lot. She says Brotherhood of Mutants and Elite, 9 health, toughness. Players cannot attack the villain. Mystique's steam is equal to the villain's steam. Her attack is equal to the villain's attack. I am not a woman to be trifled with. Side steam, Metamorphic Mayhem. Mystique's shapeshifting makes her all manners of trouble. When defeated, the player defeated this scheme shuffles each shapeshifter card from the encounter deck into the discard pile. So this is actually kind of a neat thing they started to do in this set as well. So she has 2 copies of Treachery Infiltration. Her Treachery actually has a keyword or a trait. Most Treacheries don't. So when revealed, shuffle this card into your deck. It gains Surge. So this goes into your deck, and then you draw another card. Force Response. After this card enters your hand, discard an ally or support you control. You may discard this card from your hand at the end of the player phase like any other card. So otherwise it stays in your hand, basically it wastes a hand slot, and you lose when you're drawing cards, and you lose it. Then you have to discard it. When you do discard, it just goes back to the encounter deck. So you don't have to deal with it once. But still, it's going to suck when it hits. And then she also has Shapeshift Surprise. You shuffle it into your deck. And then here it says, Force Response. After this card enters your hand, Mystique activates against you. Otherwise, search your encounter deck and discard pile for Mystique and reveal her. So one way or the other, you're going to have to deal with her. That's definitely an interesting way to do a card. They go into your in your deck, and then they pop out and mess with you. I know, like, this game is very similar in some aspects to the Arkham Horror card game, and that's one of them that they do. Alright, up next, we're going to have our next storyline plot. Just basically, Senator tells like, hey, you saved me. Piss off. Hey, Senator Gyrick, activates the Sentinels. So then we're going to have Project Wide Awake, which we're going to fight off against a bunch of Sentinels. They're also going to have this modular difficulty. Operation Zero Tolerance comes in. You have to put cards underneath it. This is what you... basically mutants being captured. So it says, Force Response, enemy attacks and defeats an ally, put that base under, that's them capturing them. And then you lose the game if you have more of them, which we'll see that. This, you can start with cards underneath of it. So basically it makes it super hard, and then you have to deal with that. So we're going to fight Sentinels, because what would the X-Men be without fighting some sort of Sentinel? Just called Sentinel. Key trait, or trait is Sentinel Toughness. When revealed, the first player searches the encounter deck and discard pile for a copy of Abduction Protocol Side Scheme, reveals it. Mutant detected, initiate capture sequence. So 16 hit points. We have the level 2 version, which also gains steady. It goes up to 18 hit points, and then we have version 3 if you decide for hard difficulty. Gains Stalwart instead, and it has 22 hit points. And this also says deal each player a face down encounter at the bottom of his ability. Then our main scheme is Knight of the Sentinels. Operation Zero Tolerance gains permanent. So while this is in play, you can't get rid of that. Force Response. After a threat is placed here, if at the start of, if there's at least 5 threat per player here, the first player places their top card of their deck face down under Operation Zero Tolerance, then removes 5 per player threat from this scheme. So basically, if they get 5 per player, they basically capture a mutant. Where is Operation Zero Tolerance? I want to see if I can find that. I think that is actually a side scheme. Yes. So it's in a side scheme deck. So we're just going to look at that quick so we can see what that does. This is not part of the Sentinel, this is part of a separate one. So it says Operation Zero Tolerance. After an enemy attacks and defeats an ally, place the ally face down if they're X face down cards. And again, it's just a face down cards, it doesn't care if they're action ally or not. The player loses the game. X is 3 more than the number of players. So if you're playing a 2-player game, you can have 6. So what makes that hard is because you get something like this. This gets up to 5. Oh, it has 5 in there. It's going to remove it. All of a sudden, remove all them threats, put 1 card under there, and then start over. Yeah, so that's definitely a pain to beat. And then we have a side scheme. We have Mutants Ectomol. When defeated, the first player searches the encounter deck and discard pile for a Sentinel minion, reveals it. Flip this card and put Jubilee into play. Discard any other version of Jubilee from play. That's in case she's already an ally in one of your other decks. We are going to get a free Jubilee. Jubilation Lee, 1 thwart, 1 attack, 3 health. X-Men, victory -1. The first player controls Jubilee. She does not count against your ally limit. Action, exhaust Jubilee and spend an energy resource to deal 2 damage to an enemy. Yes, definitely, it's kind of cool. Basically, you're at the mall, you get Rescue Jubilee, which is like very signature of the original X-Men cartoon. But we're also going to get some other captive X-Men that we can rescue. We can rescue Richter, or Julio Richter, 1 thwart, 1 attack. Captive X-Men suddenly responds after Richter attacks, deal 1 damage to the villain, and each minion engaged with you. Man, have you got one weird life ahead of you. We could rescue Boom Boom. These are some of the different New Mutants. Tabitha Smith. Response after Boom Boom attacks an enemy, place 1 bomb counter on at the end of the player phase. Remove all bomb counters from play and deal 2 damage to each enemy for each bomb counter removed this way. So if you ever attack multiple times, you can place multiple counters down. We have Cannonball Sam Guthrie. Never been sure how to pronounce that. Cannonball takes -1 consequential damage after he attacks and defeats a minion. I'm pretty much invulnerable when I'm blasted. So basically he can jump in and take someone out. He can at least not take this consequential damage. Then we have Wolfsbane. Rain Sinclair. Wolfsbane attack gains piercing. I didn't Ken, why you doing this? But if ye hurt my friends, then you're in for a world of hurt. She is Scottish, and I do not have a Scottish accent in me. So it's kind of cool. She gains piercing. Alright, so then we have some more villains. Let's get back to the villains. We have 2 copies of Sentinel Mark IV. So we get some harder Sentinels to fight. Guard, Patrol, and Boost. Put into play, engage with you. We have 2 copies of the Gauntlet Beam. Sentinel attack gives you 1 attack. Attack to the villain. Villain's attack gains piercing and range. Hero action, spend 3 fist resources to discard this. Learning AI. Attached to the villain. Get 1 steam. Villain also gains 1 retaliate. Hero action, spend 3 genius to discard this. Adaptive armor attachment. Attached to the villain gets 8 hit points, spend 3 energy resources to discard this. Definitely hard to get rid of. But at least they're all the same icons. So it kind of makes sense. One character of each type might be able to be a little bit better. We have Self-Repair Treachery. When revealed, discard each status card from the villain. Give the villain a tough status card and heal 5 damage from it. Boost, give the villain a tough status card. 2 copies of Mutant Detected. When revealed, place the top card of your deck face down under Operation Zero Tolerance, or the villain and each being engaged with you attacks even if you're in your alter ego form. Ooh, that's a rough one. 2 copies of Warn the Others. Force response. After your turn ends, place this card face down under Operation Zero Tolerance, and alter ego action, exhaust your identity to discard this card. So basically this comes out, it's an obligation, so either you can exhaust your identity to save these guys, or you can take that early on. Maybe you can afford to get a hit from this later on, maybe not. Alright, then we have 4 copies of Abduction Protocol Side Scheme. Hinder 2, Victory 2. When defeated, the player who defeated this scheme takes 1 random set-aside captive ally, puts it into play under their control. This is 1 for each of the 4 New Mutants. It's kind of fun. Beat that, you get them. We've seen the captive mechanic before. It's definitely a fun way to introduce some of the other characters into the game. Definitely cool. Alright, then we had our first side scheme, or modular scheme, which is Zero Tolerance. So this has to be played with the Sentinel one, but you could use it in other ones if you wanted to. Mark Sentinel 2, so now we've seen 1, 2, and 4. When revealed if Operation Zero Tolerance is in play, Sentinel Mark 2 gains Surge. Otherwise, search the encounter for Operation Zero Tolerance and reveal it. We're going to get 2 copies of him. We're also going to get Sentinel Mark 3, who has Toughness. Search the encounter deck and discard pile for the Energy Barrier attachment and attach it to this minion. Boost, you are stunned. If you are stunned, take 2 damage. 2 copies of Energy Barrier. Sentinel attack. Attach a Sentinel minion without Energy Barrier attached to it and give it a tough status. Otherwise, it gains Surge. So it gains a tough status card and it gains 2 attack. Force response after attacking minion attacks, give it a tough status card. And then we've already seen Zero Tolerance. So like by itself, Zero Tolerance isn't going to be so bad. Just because, like we play this in some other thing, because it's only if it defeats allies, so you just kind of protect them. But when attached with the Sentinel, the Project Wide Awake main campaign or main scheme or whatever you want to call it, it's a lot harder because there's a bunch of other cards that can put stuff under here as well. Plus, that difficulty is you could opt to start with up to 3 extra cards under there. So with 2 players, it's already having your ability. Up next, we have Sentinel Modular. So, of course, just Sentinel by himself. We have Mark 5. If targeted for elimination is attached to your identity, Sentinel Mark 5 attacks you even if you're in alter ego form. Otherwise, search the encounter and discard pile for target elimination, attach and reveal it. So we're going to get 2 copies of those. We're going to get 2 copies of Sentinel Mark 4. So we didn't have them before. Sorry, Mark 6. Yep, Mark 6. I just can't read. So we have 5 and 6. So we have 1 through 6 now. Because we need more Sentinels. Quick Strike. And if target for elimination is attached to our identity, deal this card to that player face down under the card. We get 2 copies of that targeted for elimination. Attached to your identity if a copy of targeted for elimination is not attached to, otherwise gains Surge. While you're engaged with a Sentinel minion, you cannot change form from a hero to an alter ego form. Action, discard, or exhaust your identity to discard this card. And then we have Side Scheme, Relentless Robots. Sentinels were constructed solely for hunting minions. They do not tire, they do not stop until they capture their targets. Each player engaged with a Sentinel minion cannot thwart this scheme. Definitely a pain. So again, looking at the fact that you're adding this, Zero Tolerance, plus the Wide Awake, that's a lot of Sentinels, a lot of different things that can attach to them. That can get pretty hectic. Alright, then our next villain is Master Mold. We didn't look at that story yet. So here's the end instructions for the campaign for the last one. Frightened Police is defeated. We didn't look at that one yet. But we have... basically what's happening here is the Sentinels are attacking. Magneto comes to help them. Hey, we need to stop Master Mold. We need to stop the Sentinels. I'll work with you guys, even though at this point he's still a villain. So that is what we're doing in part 3. We're trying to stop Master Mold. And he has special minions who, of course, have a lot of Sentinel stuff. So we'll get into each of those. And you also gain some extra stuff in the campaign. So if you rescue Jubilee, you get to keep using her. If you rescue captive allies, you get to keep using them. And you get, some different cards like that, which is definitely fun to do. That's a really great thing for all that to be able to do. Alright, so yeah, reason for you to want to do that stuff. So you have Master Mold here. It's another Sentinel, of course. Stalwart, Toughness. Force Interrupt. When Master Mold schemes against you, discard cards from the encounter deck until a Sentinel minion is discarded. Put that minion into play, engage if you do not give Mastermind a boost activate card for this activation. So when he schemes, he gets to just basically find minions to fight you. They just got a little bit better stats. And then his third one is, again, just a little bit better stats. But the fact he's finding enemies, that's enough. We have Sentinel Factory. Each Sentinel minion gains guard. When revealed, each player discards a card from the encounter deck until they discard a Sentinel minion, puts it into play, and engages you. So I already said having a bunch of Sentinels would be a pain. This guy is literally just producing more and more of them. Master Mode's agenda. Master Mode's program is backfired. Recognizing the mutants come from humans, the giant Sentinel programming its offspring to subdue everyone on Earth. Each Sentinel minion gains guard. If this stage is completed, the players lose the game. So now they're trying to kill everybody. We're going to get 2 copies of Sentinel Mark 8. So we have up to 8 different Sentinels. Force response. After this minion engages you, attach the topmost Sentinel attachment from the discard pile to this minion. They've upgraded their armor. So let's give them some new stuff. 2 copies of Unit Upgrade Attachment. Sentinel. Attach to Sentinel minion. Otherwise, this card gains Surge. Minion gets plus 2 hit points, gains 1 Retaliate, plus 1 Steam, and 1 attack. That can make any of them a decent threat. We also have 2 copies of Stun Beam. 1 attack. Attach to a Sentinel without Stun Beam, otherwise gains Surge. Force response. After attached minion attacks and damages a character, stun that character. 2 copies of Master Mold's Children. When revealed in Alter Ego, each minion engaged with you schemes. If you are not engaged with a minion, Master Mold schemes. When revealed as a hero, each minion attacks with you. If you are not engaged with a minion, Master Mold attacks you. 2 copies of Shields Up. When revealed, give each Sentinel minion engage with you a tough status card, otherwise it gains Surge. Boost the villain. Give the villain a tough status card. This game is handing out a lot of tough status cards. We have some side schemes. Intruder Alert. When defeated, the player defeated the scheme discards cards from the encounter deck until they discard a Sentinel minion, puts it in play, engage with them. Insert Virus Program. If you can insert a computer virus into Mastermind's mainframe, you can weaken it. Hinder 2, Victory 1. When defeated, deal 2 damage to each Sentinel enemy. And we got 2 copies of that. Alright, so now we went through. We've defeated the Sentinels. Yay, with Magneto's help. What happens now? Hey, I'm stealing Master Mold and taking him with him. Hey, that's not what was supposed to happen. Meh, you guys have to do something else. What do they have to do? Oh no, the Brotherhood is attacking the X-Mansion. So now they have to go fight them. So we're going to fight the Brotherhood. So this is another interesting new scenario. So, like, Sabretooth was an escort mission. The 2 different Sentinel ones basically had to do with either not letting too many allies get captured or defeating just a mass ton of Sentinels who kept getting upgraded. So now we're going to fight against the 4 different Brotherhood members. So they're only one at a time, but you don't know who you're going to fight. So it's kind of you're kind of rotating around, which is kind of interesting. We've seen very similar things. And then you can have different modes to say how many you need to defeat. So easier, you just have to defeat 1 of them. They'll run away. Up to heroic, where you have to defeat all 4 of them. In addition to the 4 main different villains, also 4 different main schemes. For part 2, these 4 schemes represent different parts of the Institute under attack. They're shuffled together so the player never knows where the villain will strike next. The villain completes 2 versions of the scheme, they lose the game. To prevent orders from deducing Order 4, whereas the main scheme, each of the 2 decks is identical to the other. This includes the collector's information. So that's kind of interesting there. Then we have stuff again. Keep Jubilee, captive guys get set up. Different stuff there as well. Alright, let's hop in and see who the Brotherhood are. We are going to fight Avalanche. So now, rather than having like a version 1, version 2, version, where you have to fight, these ones just have each one. So again, you can make it really easy. I just have to beat one of them. Or you can make it have to beat 2, which would be more in line with a regular villain set. They're level 1, level 2, or 2 and then 3. So here we have Avalanche. Brotherhood of Mutants, Toughness, Victory 2. Force response after Avalanche attacks you, exhaust an ally you control. Come on, fight, or I'll bring the whole building down. We have the Blob. Toughness, Victory 2. Force response after Blob attacks and damages a character, stun that character. First, I'm gonna crush you. Then I'm gonna raid your fridge. I don't know what that accent was. We have Pyro. Toughness and Victory 2. Force response after Pyro attacks you, discard the top 2 cards of your deck. Take 1 indirect damage for each printed resource icon discarded this way. And Toad. After Toad attacks you, damages a character you control, discard 1 random card from your hand. Your X-Men think you're so much better than me. I'll show you. So these are basically just more powerful versions of the Encounter Brotherhood set we've seen. Now you could combine that with that set and definitely have to deal with some crazy stuff. Like if you already have Toad out, you obviously wouldn't have to be able to play Toad a second time. But some of the other Brotherhood and Mutant keywords might kick in. So here's our main scheme. The Xavier Institute is under attack by the Brotherhood of Mutants. When revealed, deal each player 2 face-down counter cards, advance to the next card in the main scheme, add this to the victory display. So as this comes out, it's basically just go face-down counter cards, and then go to the next scheme, but we don't know which one it's going to be. So what the book was kind of saying here, so here we have this, it's saying how you play this. Save the school environment into play, shuffle all copies of main school 2A into the stack under the scheme. Shuffle them together. So all 4 of the next scheme on 2A on the back, and it should have 0 question mark of 25. We don't know which one it is. It could be anything from 26 to 29. Says the Brotherhood strikes in unison, focusing their attacks on, when revealed, flip their card. So then when you flip them over, you'll get the 4 different areas. So it's kind of neat. So you don't know which one you're going to have to fight. So let's see what we got here. We could fight in the courtyard. Each character gains 1 attack. When complete, add this scheme to the victory display and the advance to the next card in the main deck. If there are 3 main schemes in the victory display, this player loses the game. They might go attack the basketball court. Each ally and minion gains toughness. When completed, add the scheme to the victory display. That's all the same. The cafeteria, each player gains 1 retaliate. Of course, their body went to raid their fridge. And the atrium. Each character gains steady. So that's kind of a different way to have the mechanics go. Then we have save the school environment. Forced response. After the villain is defeated, if there are X villains in the victory display, the player wins the game. Seal rulebook page 15. Otherwise, each player an encounter card and reveal the next villain. So this is if you're only trying to defeat 1, then you won the game. If you're trying to defeat all 4, it's going to tell you to keep playing. The minion with the same title as the new villain is engaged with the player. Discard that minion, and that villain activates against that player. It just goes with that saying, like, if I have Blob in play as a minion, and I play Blob as a villain, instead, I discard that minion and Blob will attack me. We have 3 copies of Brotherhood Beatdown. When revealed, for each falling enemies in play, Avalanche, exhaust your identity. Blob, you are stunned. Pyro, take 2 indirect damage, and Toad, discard 1 random card from your hand. So that's kind of like they're each one to get an ability that focuses on them. Sinister Six did a similar idea. 2 copies of Groundswell. When revealed, Avalanche. I keep saying that. I listened to Avril Lavigne, and she's Canadian, and she pronounces it Avalanche, and now it's in my head. Activates against you. If he is not in play, search your encounter deck and discard pile for him and for the minion and reveal him. So you are going to include that in there. So you might have to be fighting one as the main villain, while you're fighting the rest of them as minions. So that's definitely a fun little aspect there. Boost. If the villain is Avalanche, give him an additional boost card this activation. And then we have Immovable. When revealed, Bob activates against you. If he's not in play, discard. Just discard for his minion or reveal him. If Bob gives him an extra activation, so all the cards can kind of be the same. Pyromaniac. Reveal Pyro. He activates against you if not find his minion. And the boost is giving additional boost activation card. And then Hopping Mad is Spine Code. We have 2 copies of Protect the Students. Hinder 2, and when defeated, the player who defeated the scheme searches their deck and discard pile for an ally and adds it to their hand. And then 2 copies of Under Siege. When revealed, place 3 threat on the scheme for each Brotherhood of Mutant character in play. Now, this could get very nasty depending on how many other different decks and stuff you add in there. Because you could have up to 4 of the Brotherhood in there. Although if you also included the Mystique, you could have her in there. And then some of the other characters could get added versus if they had different... like you're playing Colossus and you have... not Colossus, but you get like maybe some of the other Nemesis and some of those things. You could definitely add other ways to get other Brotherhood characters out. Alright, but that's definitely a fun, different one, like a different protection, different random character. So then, after we defeat them, we're like, hey, let's hop in the X-Jet, we're gonna go fight Magneto. So now we are fighting Mags himself, the big bad. But he's also controlling some Sentinels, robots, and he's gonna have his Acolytes. Now he has an interesting way to play. He's trying to prevent the scheme, and basically you can't kill him until you defeat his scheme. And we'll kind of look at that as we jump through his cards. So let's look at good old Mags himself. Eric Lensher. 2 scheme, 2 attack, Brotherhood of Mutants, steady and toughness. Force response. After Magneto attacks, place 1 magnet counter on the main scheme. To oppose the Master of Magnetism is to invite your own destruction. Here's steady toughness. When revealed, deal each player a face down encounter card, and he places his magnet. And then his level 3 version, same exact stuff, just better stats. 22 hit points. Alright, his main scheme is Asteroid M. After you place a magnet counter on the scheme, if there are at least 3 magnet counters here, discard cards from the encounter deck until a magnetic card is discarded. Reveal that card and then remove 3 magnets from the scheme. So that's kind of fun. He has to play magnet cards on here, and he has to pull a card out of his deck for it. He has Factory Online. After you place a magnet counter on the scheme, if there are at least 3 magnet counters here, discard cards from the card deck until a magnetic card is discarded. Reveal that card, then remove the 3. It's just basically the same thing. And then the Rule of Magnus. Force response. After you place a magnet counter here, remove 3, find a magnetic card. At this stage is completed, players lose the game. So basically, as he keeps playing cards on his schemes, he's going to keep keep playing more and more stuff, get more and more cards out. He has a side scheme here. Boarding Party. To stop Magneto's nefarious plan, you must first board Asteroid M. Magneto cannot have more than 6 per player sustained damage. When defeated, flip this card and reveal the Sabotage Master Mode. So this is kind of how his works, is you can have these side schemes out that basically prevent him from dying. Like, you can go up to that damage and then it's stopped. Then you flip to Sabotage Master Mode. Master Mode has been reprogrammed. You must take it offline before it can create human hunting sentinels. Magneto can have more than 12 per player sustained damage. So basically, to get this round, he can't have more than 12 damage. So his base form still has 18. So even if you manage to damage him, until you defeat this, you can't do more than 12. She's still going to have that extra 6 per player health out, even at his base form. When defeated, reveal the set aside orbital decay side scheme. Add this to the victory display. So then we play orbital display. Magneto is an abominable foe. The only way to ensure his defeat is to destroy the asteroid base by crossing it to Earth. Magneto cannot more than 18 sustained damage. So you could potentially, if you somehow got all the way to this, you could flip this over, but you could defeat part 1, but then he's going to go to part 2 and he's going to have more health. So when defeated, flip this card and reveal Physical Strain. So you get all the way to that side scheme before, and you defeat his level 1. But then now you can finally do this. It says, attached to Magneto. It's a permanent, he loses steady. As Astron begins this uncontrolled opponent, Magneto uses power to hold it together even as he fights with you. So basically you have to just defeat these 3 side schemes to basically be able to defeat him. Which make that a really interesting way to fight the boss. And then his other schemes are basically always going to be trying to pull more and more cards out of his deck. We're going to get 4 copies of M-Type Sentinel. Because we really needed more Sentinels, right? Guard. When defeated, give Magneto a tough status card. Boost. Give Magneto a tough status card and a face-down boost card. Because he needs extra stuff. Magneto's helmet. Magnetic. Armor and magnetic. Attached to Magneto. He cannot be confused. Hero's response. After your hero makes a basic attack, spend 1 of each type of resource to discard this card. Magneto designed this helmet to protect him from Xavier's telepathic powers, +1 scheme. His Magneto's armor gives him +1 attack, cannot be stunned. Hero response. After your hero makes a basic attack, spend all the resources to discard this. Armor strong enough to survive a direct blast from a Sentinel's Gauntlet beam. Here's some more magnetic cards. He has Magnetic Bubble. Gets Retaliate 1. He can gain all these bonuses, and that magnetic means if he doesn't just normally find them, he's going to pull them out with his schemes. Force Interrupt. When Magneto would take any amount of damage, place it here instead. Then if there are 8 or more damage here, discard this card. 8 damage. Plus it has Retaliate. Wrapped in Metal. Attached to your identity. Max once per identity. Attached identity cannot thwart, attack, defend, or recover. Exhaust your identity and spend a fist resource to discard this. Well, this sucks. That is funny. Then 3 copies of Master of Magnetism. I love this is the updated artwork from the original cover. It's definitely cool. When revealed, take topmost magnetic card in the encounter discard pile, give it to Magneto as a face-down boost card. Magneto activates against you. Neither your powers nor your skills can save you from my wrath. 2 copies of Electric Shock. When revealed, Alter Ego. You are confused, place 1 threat on the main scheme for each magnet counter on it. And when revealed as a hero, you are stunned, take 1 damage for each magnet counter on it. So now this could be good and bad, because I'm never good, but it could be less worse. Because if it's drawn with those 3 magnet counters, then there are not going to be any on there. So it won't do any of the extra stuff. You won't do the extra threat or damage. But if you draw it when there's 2 on there, that could definitely be bad. Magnetic 2 copies of Electromagnetic Blast. When revealed, each upgrade and support you control, place 1 magnet counter on the main steam. So it just helps add to that. 2 copies of Metal Shards. When revealed, deal 1 damage to the main character. To each character you control, place 1 magnet counter on the main steam. Boost, if this is an attack that defeats an ally, place 1 magnet counter on the main steam. 2 copies of... Oops, our thing is full. 2 copies of Magnetic Missile. Surge, and when revealed, defeat a Sentinel minion in play, then take 5 damage. You may discard X cards from your hand to prevent X of that damage. I should have seen that coming. You gotta defeat a Sentinel at least, right? Then you have some more side steams with Magnetic. When defeated, or Magnetic Mayhem. When defeated, the player defeated the steam discards the top 4 cards of the encounter deck. That player places 1 magnet counter for each magnetic card discarded this way. Magnetically Sealed. When revealed, place 2 additional threats here for each ally in play. Boost, exhaust each ally you control. And finally, Seized. When revealed, each player places the top 6 cards under their deck face down here. When defeated, Magneto activates against the player who defeated the steam discard cards under here. Yeah, these magnetic cards really make this a pain, because all his things, every time he plays cards, he gains more and more magnetic stuff. And then he keeps drawing more cards out. Basically, just his threat just increases and increases and increases. He gains extra stuff to protect him, gains extra things to deal with. And the fact that he can't be killed. So, like, again, you have to defeat them other side schemes before you can even defeat him, or you have to just try and focus on them threats. This could definitely be a big challenge, but it does seem fun. Alright, our other module and kind of goes with them are the Acolytes. So we're going to start with Fabian Cortez, Acolyte and Elite. Teamwork, Acolytes, and Villainous. Again, this means one of these guys comes into play, every other Acolyte is going to activate. So it's kind of neat they only did this on just the Acolytes, and they didn't do this on any other group, which kind of makes sense, because the Acolytes are going to work more as a tight-knit group, where the Brotherhood, although they're like a loose team, they're kind of together. They kind of do whatever they want. They'll fight with each other. And the Sentinels don't generally team up. They're just kind of like, I attack. I see that thing, I attack. If they hit each other in their attacks, that's what happens. They don't care. So when defeated, the player who defeated Fabian Cortez discards cards from the encounter deck until an Acolyte minion is discarded, then puts that minion into play and engage with them. Amulet Void. Stalwart Teamwork, and when defeated, the player who defeats Amelia Voigt is confused. If they're already confused, place 2 threat on the main steam. Seneca. With Teamwork and gains Piercing. When defeated, the player who defeated Seneca is stunned. If they're already stunned, they take 3 damage. Delgado. I'm not sure. Just have weird names. Retaliate 1. When defeated, discard each stun and confused status card from the villain and give it a face down boost. Unicyclone. With a toughness, and give the villain a tough status card. If the villain has a tough status card, heal 4 damage from it. Oh yeah, that's all they really need. And then we have Zeal for the Cause with a picture of Exodus, who's oddly missing from the Acolytes, right? He appears in another character set. When revealed, when the defeated ability, resolve the when defeated ability of each Acolyte minion engaged with you. If you are not engaged with an Acolyte, discard from the card deck until a minion is discarded, then reveal it. And then finally, we have side steam, the Acolytes. Each Acolyte minion gains Guard. And boost, shuffle the Acolyte minion from the discard into the encounter deck. Oh, great. So they gain guard and plus there's potential for them to also come back. Yes, these guys could definitely be a pain to fight in any encounter. Alright, our last modular encounter, which can be added throughout the entire game, just to make this game even more difficult, is Future Past. So you add this into like every expansion. This is basically the Sentinels from the future coming back to the past to try and kill you before you know what's going on. Actually, before I go through that, I didn't finish going through our story here. Basically, they defeat Magneto. You know, that happens. And then here we get a hint that something sinister is coming. So then we had in our book, we had all Colossus, information on Colossus, information on Shadowcat. Come on, my camera froze up on me. There's all the wonderful people that worked on the game. I always like to show these guys off. And then our campaigns. Of course, you keep control of whoever your character was, what role they were, how many hit points could they persist over the course, whether you've done these specific scenarios. Cards in the future past display, and cards in the future past encounter, so just as you keep good at them the entire time. Your upgrades that you got, just so you know which ones you're doing. So scenarios 1 through 4, you play these and then they're gone by the end. And then 2 through 4 is Jubilee. Allies from the abducted protocols and allies rescued or captive prisoners. So some different ones there. Alright, so then let's look at our last couple of cards here. So Future Past, because, why not add some more Sentinels into this? We have Nimrod. Sentinel Elite, Stalwart Victory. Nimrod cannot take more than 3 damage each phase. I have returned. And Bastion. Sentinel Elite, Toughness, Villians, Victory 1. Boost, deal this card to yourself as a face-down counter. To ensure the future of humanity, I will destroy mutant kind. They're going to get some side schemes. Nimrod's Portal. When defeated, in player order, each player discards the top 2 cards of the encounter deck and takes indirect damage equal to the number of boost icons discarded this way. Bastion's Machinations. Bastion manipulates current events to bring about the future from which he came. When revealed, each player puts the top 9 cards of their deck face down under here. Oh, that sucks. And then, finally, we have Nano Sentinel Tech, an attachment. Attachment meaning gets plus 4 HP and gains the Sentinel trait. So this is crazy. Now you can, not only do we have enough Sentinels, now we can make any other minion into a Sentinel. When revealed, search the encounter deck for a discard pile and set aside area for your Nemesis minion. Put it into play, engage with you, and attach this card. Oh, good. So we can also pull at your Nemesis another way other than just the regular way. That is crazy. So this card sucks. It's awesome. I love it. So then, we have one more thing. We have our 5 campaign cards. These are referenced within there. You add these only for the campaign mode, though. We have Frightened Police. In the midst of chaos, the police have confused the X-Men with the enemy. When defeated, shuffle the top card of the Future Past deck into the encounter deck. Flip this card and put the Metro PD into play. So we're going to get a support persona permanent. The first player controls Metro PD. Exhaust them to choose to either deal 1 damage to an enemy or remove 1 threat from the scheme. So various things in the campaign will tell you to add this card in there and you can gain some extra help. We get Enemy of My Enemy. Magneto also fights to protect vulnerable mutants from Sentinels. When defeated, shuffle the top card of the Future Past deck into the encounter deck. Flip this card to put Magneto into play under the first player's control. So this is kind of like as you're defeating these side schemes, you're adding basically bad stuff into the deck, but you're gaining a bonus. We can gain Magneto, Eric Lensher. Brotherhood of Mutants, of course. First player controls Magneto, does not count against your ally limit. Response: after Magneto attacks, defeats a Sentinel minion, heal 1 damage from Magneto. Find the prisoners. When revealed, each player searches their deck for an ally and places it face down under here. When defeated, shuffle the top card of the feature deck into the encounter. Flip this card and reveal the rescued captives. Keep face down cards under rescued captives. Rescue captives mission. After you defeat a Sentinel minion, spend 1 of your resources of any type. Choose 1 face down ally under this card. Put it into play under your control. Any player may trigger this ability. It's also interesting here is that each player puts one under, and then anyone can take any of the minions. So you can actually swap some of your allies. You swap different allies for a turn. The mutant stabilized, they're seized by the Sentinels and been located inside Master Mold's facility. Surprise attack. When defeated, shuffle the top card of the future past deck into the encounter deck. The player who defeated this team flips this card, puts the reactive defenses into their play area. So it kind of also works with each thing. So the first one you're just fighting Sabretooth, you have the cops helping. The second one you're fighting Sentinels, captive rescues. The third one you're fighting the second one is Magneto helping to fight the Sentinels. The third one you're fighting Master Mold and captive guys. The fourth one you're fighting the Brotherhood, so here you have Mastermind kind of fighting with that. And we're protecting the school, so we have a reactive defenses. Spend 1 of each resource to deal 5 damage to each enemy in play. Remove this from the game. The Brotherhood surprise attack caught you off guard, but you can activate the Manchi's defense systems to turn the tide of battle. And then finally, when we're fighting Magneto, we have Magneto's Fortress. Magneto's fortified his asteroid sanctuary in anticipation for your assault. When defeated, shuffle the top card of the future past deck into the encounter. Flip this card. And then Magneto's power. Attach to Magneto a permanent. It gets +1 steam, +1 attack. Mine has the power to destroy and reshape the world in my image. So some of these are kind of a pain. Decide how you have to deal with them. But definitely fun, extra little things. There we go. In the campaign, it'll tell you when to put those in and when to take them out and do stuff like that. So that's Marvel Champions, Mutant Genesis. So I'm glad to add the X-Men. That's definitely awesome. Some other cool stuff. Can't wait to sell us up. We already know who our first 2 packs are, so you can check out these videos. They will be posted shortly afterwards. Phoenix and Cyclops. And then we know our next couple of groups. I like to do everyone in pairs. So we're getting Wolverine and Storm next, followed by Gambit, and they haven't announced it, but I'm going to suppose it's probably Rogue. Then I don't know what they're doing after that. If they're going to keep doing like the next season or year's worth. I don't know if they're going to keep up with more X-Men or jump into other groups or how they're going to do that. So it's about the same amount they did for the Avengers and then Guardians and then each one. But I know we're also getting at least one encounter, which is Mojo, which is Mojo's encounter. I don't know, just call off the top of my head, but that'll be definitely fun. Add some extra stuff there. And we saw a thing with Sinister, so we'll probably get one more, I guess, probably scenario pack or encounter with Mr. Sinister, I would imagine. Or it could just be a, loose thing. Because it had the Avengers going to the Guardians thing kind of combined together as a story. So maybe they'll do something with that with this. Alright, see you guys in the next video. Bye.